Well, considering all your names, I just want to say, is it cool to call you Austin, or you want to be King Woods? What's the best thing to call you?
Austin works for me.
All right,
Austin's good. We're in casual mode right now, so we're all right.
Cool. All right. Well, it's great to talk to you, because I've actually known Mega Ran for years, and so I've always heard great things about you. To start, I did want to kind of start with Mega Ran. You finally got him to do the music. You got your interest with him. How special was that for you? I know that's been something y'all been talking about for years.
Yeah, it's been wild, because since I was in developmental, like pre-NXT, it was called FCW. We had a database that we could kind of just cycle through to try to find theme music. And I typed in like 8-bit or video game one day, and I found one of his songs. And I was like, this is great. I need more. So I looked him up on Spotify, and I was like, wait, this is like an actual person. He makes actual music that is like made for me. What? I had no clue this was even a genre. And so he opened my eyes to a completely different style of music that is easily my favorite type of music, just like video game, like nerdcore rap. So I found a way to send him an email, told him I found his music, but I wanted to use a different song. He was cool with it. A few years later, after that, we become friends. I brought him to WrestleMania with me, 1 year with me and my family. And the goal was always like to get him to do my theme music. Like I need to hear your voice pumping through these speakers when I'm going to fight. And so fast forward to winning King of the Ring. And then finally WWE was like, hey, you know what? You can have your own theme song now. And I said, oh, dope. So 11 years deep, finally get my own theme music. But to make it even sweeter, I got to have Mega Ran rapping on it. And then another one of my buddies, Sazy, Canadian rapper out of Toronto, who's incredible. There's a bunch of Dragon Ball Z and horror rap stuff. And so it's awesome, because regardless of where a person lands when they're trying to achieve their goals and things like that, like they never do it by themselves. But I think that people very quickly forget that. And it's a lot of times because a lot of people won't remind them. No, there's not one person on this planet who reaches any level of fame or notoriety or does anything special like by themselves. Like there are people who help you along the way, whether they be mentors, whether they be parents, friends, whoever. And being able to have one of my friends be a part of my wrestling journey while I'm out there actually doing it, it allows me to feel a certain way that I probably wouldn't feel otherwise, knowing that my friends are with me while I'm doing this thing that I love. And so it's a lot more than just music to me.
Now, speaking about friends, obviously, I think something that a lot of fans appreciate is how New Day has never had, the big breakup angle or anything like that. And you just became the King of the Ring. Big E just had his run as WWE champion. Kofi obviously had Kofi Mania. How much has that meant to you for you guys to experience that solo success, but still maintain and still be the New Day throughout it?
It's been incredible because it's not like a gimmick or a thing just for the cameras, So when they have moments of success, it feels like success. Like for me, so when Kofi won the title, it felt like I won the title. Like that's my brother. That's real. And it's funny because we were talking about this the other day, the three of us, and just kind of reiterating this point. Like when one of us succeeds, the other ones feel good. And I was like, what is that? And he was like, I think that's love. That's what that is. It's just genuine. You feel happy that your friends are happy. So there's really no reason that we would ever want to do something like that. It doesn't make any sense, And it's kind of cool that in wrestling, you can see just a genuine, healthy male relationship. And it's not just a bunch of just toxic dudes just yelling and screaming over like leather and metal. Like, yeah, championships are important. You get more money when you're champion, you get fame, you get fortune, but also like the championship isn't gonna, call you when you're 80 and you're not moving around too well to talk about the good times, And so I think that's something that is, one, it's very important to us. just because it's who we are. And then two, we think it's really important just to wrestling culture to have something different. Like, we could do the same thing as literally everybody else in wrestling ever, or we could try to do something different, and people might not like it, but it's an attempt to be different and to be better than what we are currently doing, you know? And so that's how I feel in my heart and soul.
That's great. That's great. Now, speaking of kind of New Day's role and impact, a lot of the talk right now in wrestling is about representation, and specifically diversity and Black wrestlers in specifically. What has New Day's impact been in your mind on making, on Black representation in wrestling?
I don't know. It's weird to think about it like that. I don't know. We were just three dudes who were trying to not lose our jobs at one point, and so to see people say things like that, and to have people reach out and say, I'm more comfortable being myself in a wrestling locker room now because like you guys showed that it was okay. That's it's very humbling, because these are things that I've never necessarily always felt like not comfortable, but as if a locker room was for me, like even though I played sports all throughout high school and things like that, I always just felt like there was something that was in me that wasn't in them, that made me not click exactly. It was like an 85% click, but there was just something that was either missing or whatever it was. And when I met Kofi and Ian, we really started kind of grinding together and figuring that stuff out. I realized like it wasn't just like a couple of people that I could vibe like this with. Like, so I had Tyler Breeze at that time, like we were very close then, we still are. Rick Victor, I lived with those guys, and those were my go-to guys. Then finding Kofi and E and feeling, oh wow, I can actually be myself, and I don't have to have these weird insecurities and make myself essentially feel like I don't fully belong, because that was a lot of stuff that I was dealing with within me. But knowing that anything that we might do on TV might give someone that okay to kind of wipe that insecurity away and say, you know what, I am worth it. I can survive here. I don't have to be like anybody else. I don't have to be anything that someone thinks that I should be. I can just be me and I'll be okay. I love it that some people are getting that from what we're doing. And I love that we can bring those kind of feelings, because it feels good to feel that way.
When you
Sorry, I feel like I'm rambling.
No, that was a great answer. And so, when you kind of reflect on what that means, like I'm thinking about, like, do you feel like, your journey would have been so much different if like you had somebody like you guys showing you that way, like back when you were Consequences Creed and TNA, like if you had somebody there, like, do you think that would have changed, the way you were able to be comfortable and just be yourself at the time?
I mean, probably. I feel like, just depending on the era and the type of people that you grow up with, watching, and people that you meet throughout your journey. Yeah, definitely. No clue what that would look like. And I very much like how I am now. And so I'm glad to have gone through stuff like that. But as far as people who were just helpful along the way, like I always looked up to Devon Dudley, and he's a guy who legitimately became my mentor, who I wouldn't have sent my stuff to WWE had it not been for like a 2-hour conversation that I had with him when I got released from my other job. I was just floating, and I was thinking, you know what, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I'm not good enough to be a wrestler on TV. And after talking to him, he turned my whole life around. And minus that conversation of him telling me to quit feeling sorry for myself and pick myself up off the ground and keep going because I'm not a quitter, all that type of like movie hurrah, Denzel, remember the Titans type of speeches over the phone. I don't send my stuff. And if I don't send my stuff, I don't become Xavier Woods. I don't become Xavier Woods. I don't pair up with Kofi and E. Like, so many things don't happen how they've currently happened in my life. And so I technically did have a guy. I did have a guy who helped me along the way in the way that he was meant to help me. And I will forever be grateful to him for that.
That's amazing. Now, you know, you've experienced so much success in wrestling, but I think one of the, most impressive things about you is just how much you've diversified, and you've been able to find these lanes. It's, your passion for gaming. You've done up, down, down, but now you hit the big time, I guess you'd say. You got your kind of dream gig with G4. You'd been campaigning for it. What did that mean to you to get that job and have that opportunity come up?
It was incredible because again, I guess it's like a very low level like imposter syndrome. So me like thinking that I didn't really belong in wrestling locker rooms. Like, I always kind of felt that in like the gaming space, because there were so many people who were just coming over to gaming because they realized, oh, there's a ton of money here. Maybe like I should get into it because I've got a little bit of a following. And I just never wanted people to think that about me. But no matter what, I always thought that's what they did think. And so I always tried to make sure that people knew, like, no, this is my life for real. Like, this is my like gaming setup. Like, I can give you history. I got full collection of US release Sega Saturn games. Like I'm okay. Trust me, let me in. And getting the spot at G4, again, is something that helped me like kind of wash away a little bit of that insecurity that maybe I don't fully fit here. And so now that I feel that in two places, in wrestling and wrestling world and in the video game space, it's really cool to be able to use those to kind of bounce off of each other, because there's people in the gaming space that really like wrestling, and there's people in the wrestling space that really like gaming. And so for me, I've just always tried to bring as many people as possible to hear the gospel of the pro wrestling. And so as King, if I can open up that Venn diagram of wrestling fans and gaming fans as much as possible to just make it one circle, like they're the exact same fan, like if I could just hold up a mirror and say like, look, we both got made fun of in high school and we worked through it. We got made fun of the same way. Trust me, you're going to like this and you're going to like that. I guarantee it. So if I can do that, then that's what I'm shooting for. But yeah, being in the gaming space with G4 has definitely been a great experience.
I mean, you got the G4, you hosted a show on Nickelodeon. You're on the road, obviously, with wrestling constantly. How do you maintain the work-life balance with juggling all
that? I mean, I'll tell you, hopefully the next year or so, if I figure it out. My normal answer to that is carefully, but this past run at the end of the year was intense. It was intense. But I think one thing that's very important. So I have this tattoo, it's King Kai logo on my bicep. So King Kai, Dragon Ball Z character, the main character, dies and fights through this crazy path to get to King Kai to train with him. And once he trains with him, he learns the Kaioken attack. And so it essentially allows him to multiply the output that his body can output, but it puts crazy stress on his body. It hurts him. When I tore my Achilles, I got that tattoo because I didn't before then know what my limits were. I learned what my limits were physically. And so I have this tattoo. And so in trying to stay with the theme of things, I'm finding my limit of when I will burn out and when I will not, so that I can then more effectively produce whatever content I need to produce, whether it be wrestling, whether it be gaming, whether it be music. But finding that balance is really, really difficult, and that time management. But I do believe that if there is something that you really want to do, then you will find a way to do it. And if you don't end up finding a way to do it, then maybe there's a possibility that you don't actually want to do it. You enjoy the idea of doing it, but you don't want to put in what it takes to have all those things or to do all those things or to achieve those goals. And that's totally okay. But I'm doing my best to figure out which side of the coin I am on with a lot of things so that I can keep wrestling, gaming, family, all of those things afloat, and just cut the fat from everything else. So I have, those are my pillars. And as long as those are strong, then I'm okay.
Well, it's obviously kind of been a crazy time to be a wrestler, just because you're wrestling during a pandemic, and part of it, you were wrestling in front of no crowd. What was that like for you to adjust to have been doing something your whole career where you're using that audience response, and then suddenly you're in there in an empty arena? What was that experience like for you?
I mean, honestly, like, it was fine. I in the early parts of my career, I wrestled in so many places that had like either like 2 people or like 7 people or like nobody sometimes. So it was kind of cool to go back to your roots, but at the same time, minus that fan interaction and that actual energy and that noise, you lack adrenaline, and adrenaline can help shield you from pain. And so everything that hits you hurts way more when there's no people there, and that sucks. But overall, I was out for a lot of that time. So I didn't come back from my Achilles injuries until September of 2019. So I was at home for a minute. So I did Talking Smack for a while, and then I re-debuted, I guess. So I was only in the Thunderdome for a short amount of time in comparison to everybody else. But I will say, when we did Mania and we had people, it was like somebody flicked a light switch as soon as we walked out to the crowd, and it was like, oh yeah, this is what it's supposed to feel like. So it's amazing to be back in front of fans again.
Nice. So, how special was it for you? Just at day one, being in Atlanta, being the hometown, and getting to perform there, and kind of have that, have a chance against one of your longtime rivals in the Usos.
Yeah, it felt good to punch the Usos in the face while I was at home. But it's the first time that my 4-year-old, who really like understands stuff now, it's the first time he was able to come to a show and know what's going on, and kind of see what daddy does. My high school band director got to come to the show, and so it was really cool being able to perform, because knowing that he loves pro wrestling, and I got to train under him when I was in high school, and then just a bunch of friends. So it felt good having a good match with the Usos that the people seem to really enjoy. So that always feels amazing. But to be able to do that at home, in front of friends and family, like, there's not a better feeling than having what you think is a match that people really liked, and being able to do that in front of people that you love. Oh, it's great.
So I am curious though, but you have gotten to wrestle the Usos a lot. Is that more challenging or easier? What does it fit like? Is it like, you fit on a glove and you just okay, we're gonna find a way to find a new level? Or is it like, man, how do we find a way to make this new and exciting for people after all these times?
I feel like in the times that we've wrestled the Usos, we have been apart for a good bit of the time, and we come back together. And one thing that I really love about them is that we all see wrestling the same way. And I feel like every time that we meet, we've gone somewhere else and acquired more skills, different skill sets, like whatever it is. Neither team is resting on their laurels, and I think that that's really easy to see when you see the way that our matches have progressed over time. So it's not difficult at all, because both sides are always changing up the things that they're doing and the mentality that they have towards not just wrestling, but towards tag team wrestling specifically. Because to us, it is the most beautiful art that wrestling can provide. A solid tag team match, like no weapons, no crazy rules. You got to tag your partner. You got 5 seconds in and out, like a good tag match within some certain boundaries. That, to me, when done well, it's like watching a symphony, or listening to a symphony, or watching a ballet. Like, it's beautiful. Like, I would go to a museum and watch a beautifully put together wrestling match. You know, that's what it is to us. It's art. And so, so to be able to share that with other people is really cool. And to be able to be face to face with another team that understands that, feels that as well, that it's not just another match to them. Like this is our art and what we will hopefully be remembered for, and what we are here to do and entertain all these people in this building and everybody watching. And if we don't go out there and give them every creative bone that we have in our bodies, then we're doing everyone a disservice. But most importantly, we're doing a disservice to ourselves, and that's gross. And so so it's really, really, really fun and satisfying being able to go out there and do what we do, regardless of how many times we do it.
Now, I know, you know, obviously you're a big gamer, but you're also I know you're a hip hop fan, and your King of the Ring gear had some Easter eggs on it, I think, for some hip hop fans. Can you talk about those, and you know, what made you put that together for your ring gear?
Yeah, so we have been talking about doing Fuji's gear for a hot minute, and so I believe E had it first, and I don't remember what set of gear we were in. We may have been coming off our Mortal Kombat stuff, or maybe Power Rangers, whatever. So we're like, oh, we got to get stuff to match, and our gear designer, he always just makes the complete set, because he knows like there's a chance that we'll end up doing it. And so we're like, oh, perfect. We're gonna just jump in with this Fuji set. And then it was funny. I think that it ended up being the 20th anniversary or something, where they just gotten back together or something had happened. People were like, oh, this is crazy. Like, did you guys hear about this? Like, no, this is just like serendipitous. So it's really cool. But gear is so important to us, because that's a way that you can express yourself without having to say a word. And the people that are there listening to that part of it and watching, they get it. And if people don't, it's fine, because it's just wrestling gear. As long as my body is covered, we're good, right? To have a fight. And so to be able to, you know, do the Fuji's shout out was really cool.
Nice. Now, well, I want to ask you, man, what have you been listening to lately? What's been, you know, I know you're a Mega Ran fan, but what's you know, what's been on your playlist as of late?
Okay, I'll give you like the real answer.
Yeah.
So Numbers by Pete and Bass. I've been listening to that like the past 72 hours for whatever reason. I can't turn it off. It's so good. And that's my answer for hip hop.
Gotcha.
I know. I'm stuck. I get stuck in a loop. And so like my loop is either like I'll just start listening to Childish Gambino and I'm done. I don't listen to anything else. I love Gambino. Thundercat, another favorite. And I'm learning bass. I've been playing since last February. And so he is like, he's incredible. T-Pain, anything he puts out touches, it turns into gold. But yeah, legit, just a lot of Pete and Bass.
Nice. Now, I'm curious, what made you pick up the bass? Was there any kind of, you know, inspiration for that to start learning?
I always would see videos of people playing bass, and, you know, they're making that nasty face. But when you're listening to them while they're making that face, you start making that face. And when you're making that face, you automatically feel good. Like no matter what the issue is, you could have a terrible day. Somebody shows you a video of that, you're automatically in the zone. So like in my head, I said, what if I could just be the guy who was initiating the bass? And so I went and got a bass that night. And I said, I'm going to learn this because this is like the coolest instrument. This is the backbone of all music. And so I'm going through all these songs that I want to learn. And it's just all bangers. And then you realize, oh, bass is what makes music good to me. And so if I could have a little control over that and, you know, play some wrestling music and lay down some bass lines, you know, I feel like it's a pretty good day.
Got a little competition for Francesca now.
Oh, no. We all make beautiful music together. You just record one, then you record the next, you put them together, done deal.
You know, before we close out, I'm curious. People love the New Day podcast. Any update on that? Is there any chance we're going to get more episodes from y'all doing that?
There's a possibility. We don't know. Everybody's schedule has been absolutely crazy. We've got bunch of things going on and a bunch of things we got to figure out. So it's always possible. If a new one does creep up, just make sure you're following all three of us on social medias, and we will let you know.
Well, man, Austin, I really appreciate it, the time, and I'm hope you have a good road to WrestleMania and everything. We're heading out the Rumble's right around the corner. Thanks so much for taking time.
Yeah. No problem. I'll start my road to WrestleMania by winning the Rumble.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks, man.
All right, have a good one.